What's up, everyone, and welcome to Project X Talk Extra, your weekly podcast supplement from Project X Talk, where we cover news, games, or whatever else that didn't quite make the main show. I'm your host, Kevin, aka the Muffin Mon, and I'm joined by the future of esports himself, Aman. How you doing?
I'm doing as great as ever.
Absolutely. I understand why. We also are joined by Mr. Physical Copy himself, Ethan. How you doing?
Fired up, Kevin. Just came off of a great podcast. It's a good day.
That was a great podcast. Went way longer than I ever expected, but
Really
it was
long.
great conversations.
Really fun,
I'm
yeah.
ecstatic. I obviously just shared some good news with the group, so we're all pumped up. It's a good time to be here. And if you're here, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and we're almost, and maybe we are at this point, past 400.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it. We do try to do content most weekdays. And then we have the podcast, obviously, to get you through the weekend. But hit the like button, share, subscribe. We appreciate you for stopping by. But today, guys, we are here to talk about Xbox Series S outselling the PlayStation 5 last week. This comes from Jordan Midler over at Video Game Chronicle, who says, for the first time in 8 years, Xbox has outsold PlayStation in Japan during a week. He says, according to sales data published by Famitsu, the Series S on its own sold 6,120 units, whereas the PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Digital sold a combined 2,693 units. So, if you're bad at math, the Series S alone almost outsold PlayStation 3 to 1. It is important to note, however, that the prior week, PlayStation 5 sold nearly 50,000, while the Series S sold 10,000 and the Series X sold 3,000. Compared to Series X selling 105, not 1,000, 105 this week. So
Wow.
sales are clearly still fluctuating by availability. However, I don't think we should downplay this. Ethan, I'm going to throw it to you. What is your initial thoughts on this?
Yeah, the initial thought is clearly this has to do with the supply issue. The numbers are low, period. It doesn't matter who's on top at this point. The numbers are very low. And then, we look at the Series S, and a lot of people are starting to believe that the Series S is just the best value for anything. It's a cheap console. It's to me the most aesthetically pleasing. It's the best console to put in your living room, in your entertainment center. When people are out there looking for a new gen console, they see that Series S and they say, "Oh, that'll marry well with my entertainment system." It's very minimalistic. It's just a good console to have. And of course, the added benefit of it being cheaper and more available than the PlayStation. So I think we're going to see these numbers fluctuate a lot more until we can finally get out of the supply chain issue. But, things are looking up for Xbox in Japan overall. So I think we should celebrate that.
Before I throw it to Amon, I will agree with you. The Series S is a beautiful console. I wish my Series X had a white version because I don't like the black version. I prefer white consoles. I have since the 360. I just think they look better. That's why, my PlayStation 5 over here, digital, because that disc drive made it look hideous, but also it's white. It's you can call it a router. You can say it looks like Wayne Tower, but it's a beautiful console.
Another console to shout out, the Switch OLED is a beautiful.
Yeah,
Nintendo
I love
Switch.
the white one.
The Switch OLED looks way better than any other Switch that I've
sure.
seen.
If I didn't have a Switch with those ugly red and blue Joy-Cons and the black dock, I would have got that OLED in on
I like the red and blue for what they are. I like those, but the white looks way better.
It's cool because my whole entertainment system is all black. I got the 360 Elite, I got the Xbox One X, I got the Xbox Series X, a black soundbar, everything's black, and then I just have this one dot of white, and that's my Switch OLED. It's really cool. It'd be nice to see a Series S on there.
I was going to ask you why you have all those old consoles, but then I realized that was a stupid question knowing what I know about you. So instead, I'm going to go to Amon and be like, Amon, what do you think of the Series S?
I got this little bad boy at hand's reach at all times. Game Boy Color. Yeah. I got all these old consoles sitting around everywhere.
All right.
That is impressive. I think it's obviously great news for Xbox, but again, there's a lot of factors that you have to take into account: the PS5 shortage and all of that. Series S's are usually widely available. Yeah, just don't listen to what I'm saying. Look at Ethan's stuff. But yeah, but yeah,
He's
again,
playing
great,
Game Boy.
it's great news for a Series S. Again, there's a lot of other factors that we need to take into account, but
Yeah.
overall, we should take this as a victory. And I think the stuff Xbox is doing in the Japanese market, the JRPG genre stuff, I think it's paying off, starting to pay off at least.
I'm of a similar mindset. I don't think that this is like, oh my God, Xbox is gonna crush. I'm coming through your speakers, Amon, if you want to mute yourself. But I don't think this is the Xbox is gonna crush PlayStation this generation in Japan, because overall PlayStation is still sold more than Xbox this generation. But I do think this is promising, especially because we know the Japanese market is kind of moving towards the Series S more than the X, where we see them buying the S, and that's the more readily available console. Because if anything, I think Xbox needs to be pushing their Series S stock to Japan. We have plenty of Series S here. The market here
Yeah.
doesn't really want Series S. Like, they're stocked up plenty in every electronics area I go to. What we want is a Series X. So if I was at the distribution line in Microsoft, I'd be like, Series S's are going to Japan, Series
Right.
X we can send to the rest of the world, because that's how the split is working out. That's what the demographics want. They want that smaller console. They want the cloud gaming. They
Mhm.
want something. They don't want this giant box sitting in their living rooms.
Americans are just, we want the bigger thing. We want the thing that costs more. It's kind of ridiculous.
It's just a different lifestyle, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's just a different lifestyle. It's true.
Americans love excess. We love,
Yeah.
like, oh, there's a better version available, I'm just gonna get that.
Yeah.
The Series S here, while selling well, I understand it's probably selling better than the Series X due to availability, but
Yeah.
it isn't what people are wanting. Like, that the Series S is an option for like kids, like a cheap gift to get them into video games, or people have settled and been like, I can't get a Series X. I just want to play something
Yeah.
better than my Xbox One. But I don't know. I think it still very much depends on availability and distribution, shipping, and all those issues that go into
Mhm.
supply chain management. But I think
And
it's great. It's awesome to see Xbox making inroads.
yeah, and I wonder if, obviously both companies aren't happy about the supply chain issues. They could be making way more money if it wasn't the case. But I'm wondering if Xbox, at the end of the day, strategically looking at this, is saying, we're actually making better inroads because of the supply chain issue than we would be if we were just dealing with a regular market here. Because if you think about it, I mean, going into this generation, there's nothing that Japanese gamers would look at Xbox history and say, I want to trust these guys over PlayStation this generation. But now that we're in a time where it's like availability is tough for the PlayStation, people just want to play next gen games. People are just biting that bullet, say, I'll drop $300 or whatever the equivalent of that is in yen to play some games. So, I think Xbox has an opportunity here, and they definitely need to double down on it.
Yeah, for sure. And we're seeing Series X, when they do come into stock in the US, they're staying longer, like hours, days sometimes, depending on the drop. So the console issue on Xbox side is getting less. PlayStation stock, however, and Amon, you can probably attest to this because you were looking for PlayStations, it really isn't that much better than it was even a year ago, right? Like, it's still rough out there, right?
Yeah, and there's also that thing. Xbox said they paid their chip manufacturer to get like a preference over manufacturing for other companies. So yeah, I do think Xbox does have the resources and the financial needs to do make these deals. But yeah, it's really hard to get a PlayStation 5, man. Like, I've never seen one out in the wild ever.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, that's absolutely insane. But yeah. We'll get it eventually.
I do wonder if this generation is going to be less about who sells more and just more about who makes more. Because this chip shortage, now they're saying, is lasting until 2024. Like, we're going to be approaching 3 years into the generation before people might be able to readily get their hands on these consoles. And one, I think the console generation is going to be extended. The US is heading towards a recession because of all this crazy inflation. And it's just going, like we saw with the Xbox 360 and PS3 generations, it's going to extend the generation life. The only difference is now we have the option of PS5 Pro and Xbox Series, whatever they call it, as a mid-gen refresh. So it'll be interesting to see, like, when those consoles are in development, which personally I don't want them, but I think they'll probably happen. Does Xbox get the edge because they're able to make more consoles off the start? No,
Amon, you said you want to say something?
So you guys are just thinking?
Amon looked like he was about to say something.
He's thinking. You can go, Ethan.
Okay. No, you go, Amon.
Oh my God!
I'm blank.
I don't know. I don't know what to
I'm
say.
blank right now.
Okay.
So am I.
All right. Well, I stumped you. All right.
You stumped me.
Kevin's right. Dropping the mic. We out.
It's a good point.
It's a good point. It is a fair point. Let us know what you think down in the comments below for this awkward pregnant pause. But
I'm gonna do that whole thing that Gary would have did with Gary Miller back in the day. Everything that you said, I was miles away. I am so gone.
I'm playing 4D chess over here, okay? But
4D chess.
Guys, like I said, let us know your thoughts down below. No console war stuff, but like just general, like, do you think availability will play a bigger factor than actual people wanting consoles? Like maybe they get the Series S as opposed to a PlayStation 5 because one's more available. Let us know your thoughts.
Console war stuff.
Yes.
Please keep.
Let us know your thoughts down below. Ethan, where can people find you?
They can find me at YCDR1 on Twitter and Gravy3448 on Xbox.
Amon, where can they find you?
You can find me at Amon_M05. If you do want console war stuff, you know where to find me.
Oh my God.
Keep it toxic.
No, I play it on both sides. Like sometimes I'm defending Xbox, sometimes I'm just going against Xbox. You know,
Amon just goes against the grain in whatever situation.
He's in the middle. He's in the middle.
Against the grain.
And you can find me at the Muffinmon 1 and 7, Ian and 0 and 7. A follows at Project X Talk to stay up to date with all of our latest videos. Until next.